We are back on Get Up, and my Uncle Seth Greenberg, no relation. I don't put pressure on you here, but I want you to know I got this one right. Chris Paul is in the NBA Finals for the first time. He's 36. Who's the oldest player in NBA history to win Finals MVP?
See, I think Hembo set me up. It's got to be either Kareem, LeBron, or Bill Russell. Those are my final three because they're old and they won championships. I'm going to go way back because he pump fakes me. He thinks I'm going to say LeBron. I'm going to say Kareem.
That's right. He got it right. That is correct. Oh, my goodness. Kareem, at the age of 38, was the MVP.
He tried
of
to
the
pump
finals
fake me.
in 1985. Let the record show I had the right guy but the wrong year. So you said I got it right, and you got it even righter. Meanwhile, we mentioned this because Chris Paul, at the age of 36, is in the NBA Finals for the first time. Here's how we got there. Suns-Clippers last night in L.A. In the third quarter, it was Chris Paul just taking this game over and then continuing that into the fourth. The team shot 56% from the floor. He was just spectacular from inside, from outside, 7 out of 8 from 3. He would score 41 points on the night. Here's just a terrible way for this to end. No obvious reason for Patrick Beverley to be engaging in that nonsense. Just sore loser, thrown out of the game, and certainly deserved it. But that was not the story of the night. This was the celebration, the coronation for Chris Paul. 41 points, 8 assists. He's on his way to the NBA Finals for the first time after playing 1,213 games in his career. It's the second most games played before a first Finals appearance. Only Kevin Willis had played more. Willis got his ring that year with his chance in 2003. We'll see if Chris Paul is able to do it. And again, Seth with us and Tim Legler with us all morning as well. And, you know, let's talk about what Chris Paul has done on this team here, because you look at where he has gone. He goes to Oklahoma City. That everyone thought they were basically writing him off, right? That was going to be the end of his career. That was a very respectable season they put together last year. And now he comes to Phoenix, this team with a bunch of young players. And in one season, he has them in the finals. What do we say about the job Chris Paul did this year, Legs?
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing transformation. This was a team that kind of caught our attention last year in the bubble with the way that they played, and Devin Booker emerging as a star scorer in this league, but certainly didn't think you could take the leap from what they had last year as a roster to the NBA Finals. And they bring in Chris Paul. What he has done for me is he's made the game a lot simpler for Devin Booker. He's made the game a lot simpler for DeAndre Ayton. His ability to get the ball to the people where they need it, where they can be most efficient, is an enormous change and improvement for this team, because they would always go to Booker as the initial ball handler in the past whenever they were in a tight spot. And he's a great scorer, and he could do that, but Chris Paul took a lot of that off of his plate. So he maxed out not only who those two guys were, but really the rest of the roster. And then his mid-range is one of the best this league has ever seen. And it's ironic to me, in a league full of three-point shooters, you now look at the last three champions. Kawhi Leonard, probably the best mid-range player in the NBA. Anthony Davis dominates the mid-range area of the floor, won a title last year. And Chris Paul dominates the mid-range area of the floor this year. And so for me, he just represents great leadership and giving this team what they desperately needed.
Yes, this is not a team that just hoists threes throughout the regular season, as so many did, and all of them are watching, and here they are in the NBA Finals, and it is really a well-constructed team. And Seth, you primarily cover the college game for us, so obviously Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, recent stars who've come in and now coming into their own. The Phoenix Suns might be a team that we should get used to seeing at this stage of an NBA postseason.
This team is built for long term. Obviously, Chris Paul, he can't play forever. They're going to eventually have to find another point guard. But if you look at the makeup, and Tim, Legs has been talking about this all morning. They check every box. Great leadership. A front court player in DeAndre Ayton that can run the floor, defend ball screens, finish around the basket. Hard rim runner. You've got, obviously, Devin Booker and a dynamic offensive play. This team is going to be around for a while because they got great chemistry and great trust.
All right, so guys, hang on 1 second. I'm going to come right back to you here, but we're going to go from the West to the East. The storyline in the West, obviously, is Chris Paul making it to the finals. The storyline in the East is the continued injuries, which just mount up. And for the two superstars in this series, Trae Young, who missed Game 4 the other night after stepping on the foot of the official in Game 3. He's officially questionable for tonight's Game 5 in Milwaukee. And then Giannis, with that terrible moment the other night, is officially doubtful before Game 5, though generally speaking, the news of yesterday I thought was pretty good. Let's get all that news from Malika Andrews covering the Eastern Conference Finals for us, and she is live in Milwaukee. Let's start with Giannis. Let's go through the news of yesterday and the latest with his injury.
Yeah, well, Mike Budenholzer agreed with you, Greeny. He said that this was the best possible news that they could get, considering how ugly it looked in the moment, how scary it was when he went down. So as Adrian Wojnarowski and Zach Lowe reported, Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't have any structural damage to the ligaments in that knee, but still there's no clear timetable for his return. From what I've been told, the swelling that is in his knee would make it a little bit surprising to see him out on the floor for tonight's pivotal Game 5. You know Giannis, of course, he wants to be out there, but if he is unable to go, which it seems unlikely that he will right now, expect potentially Bobby Portis to be stepping up and into that role. They like what he has given them offensively. They like the spark that he has when he's playing at home. But yes, the Bucks are viewing this as the best possible news they could have gotten, given the fact that I was 25 rows up from where he was injured and I could hear his screaming on the court. It was definitely a scary moment, Greeny.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, he's officially listed as doubtful, as we mentioned, and Trae Young officially listed as questionable with that foot. What are we hearing about him?
Well, he is here. He is in Milwaukee and continues to get treatment, but it continues to be the same issue of mobility and pain tolerance, Greeny. That's what I've been told. So he's going to continue to get that treatment. He's continuing to test it out. The decision is going to come closer to game time, but that treatment that he's getting, the hope is that at some point, even if it's not tonight, he's going to be able to return in this series. But again, it's going to come down to that pain tolerance and mobility, and that's what still continues to be a little bit limited.
Outstanding, as always, Malika Andrews. Thank you very much. Coverage of this, and we'll obviously stay close to you as the day goes on to see if there's any update on either of these guys. Let me get Seth and Tim back in here, Cindy, if I can. There we go. And so now you hear that. And Tim Leglow, I'll just start with you as directly as I can. It's the critical Game 5 in a 2-2 series. If there's no Giannis and no Trae Young tonight, who do you think wins?
Yeah, I favor Milwaukee if that's the case. It's a coin toss to me, but I look at the two next most proven commodities in this series if those two guys are out and they both play for the Milwaukee Bucks. It's Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton has now elevated his profile in this league as a guy that you can pencil in a certain number. And I think without Giannis, Middleton's going to be around 30. Drew Holiday's another guy who's been much more aggressive lately looking for his shot. So he is, again, a proven commodity in this league. For Atlanta, they've got great depth. But I don't know that you really know where it's coming from on a given night. Bogdanovich, to me, is the key. He's the barometer. He finally made an appearance in this series in the last game. He still was just 7 for 19, but right now, he'll take 7 for 19. He was that bad in the previous 6 or 7 games. He's the key. John Collins has to be obviously great. Kevin Huerter's got to really step up. But you just don't know. There's a lot of question marks of where the offense will come from. Not so much with Milwaukee. You know who it's going to run through, and I think you got a lot of faith they can get it done, and they're at home. So if both of those guys sat the next 3 games, I like the Bucks.
How about you, Seth?
Yeah, I like the Hawks. And here's the deal. Giannis, with him on the floor, they're plus 509 during the course of the season. That means they're minus 509 with them off the court. Are you kidding me? There's no way to replace what Giannis does, the easy baskets he gets. It puts so much pressure on Middleton. We saw Cam Reddish did a terrific job on him the other day, getting up and underneath him, pressuring him, taking away his first dribble at the rim, contesting his shot. I look at this Bucks team, and I think that Holiday's the key. He's got to play like an all-star. He's got to play like an Olympian. He's got to play like what he's getting paid for. Now, if he plays well, I could say maybe the Bucks have a shot. I think that the Hawks have more guys that can make plays. I love what they're doing defensively in terms of loading the box, basically defending now, pressuring Middleton, and then defending the Bucks in a lot of ways like they defended the Knicks by loading up the box and taking away all driving lanes for Holiday.
So what should we expect it to look like, Tim Leglow? Let's envision a game, and if you listen to Malika, and we sort of read between the lines. I mean, Giannis was in excruciating pain the other night and has swelling. Trae Young, the best we can say of him is that he actually made the trip to Milwaukee. So reading between the lines, I think it sounds unlikely we'll see either of them at least tonight. What does this game look like tonight, Tim Leglow? These two teams without their superstars.
Yeah, well, I think, look, Milwaukee obviously now having an opportunity to be at home, get that adrenaline, get that crowd. The three-point shooting is going to be critical for both of these teams because you're going to have less offense creation by star players. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo puts so much pressure on defenses to collapse on the lane. Guys have extra time to line up shots, and those role players need that time. Same thing for Atlanta. Trae Young's in the lane all night long, and that gives Bogdanovich and Herter and Lou Williams and Collins and all the guys that take threes extra time. That won't be the case in this one. Defenders are going to be closer to guys. Shots are going to be more contested. So whoever can knock down some three-point shots in this game is going to ultimately win. I just think Chris Middleton has shown over the last two postseasons he has the ability in these moments to be special, and I think he will be again tonight.
All right, guys, outstanding work all morning long. Seth Greenberg, congratulations on your defeat of Hembo. Timmy Legs, enjoy whatever very important meeting it is that you have coming up today. Thank you for the tie. We continue in a moment with this. Dak has lofty expectations for 2021. Can the Cowboys live up to the hype? We'll answer that question next.